Hello and welcome to Workforce Wrestling. This is Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us tonight for the Cookout podcast where we talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling, baby.
I just do not have that same energy. There are some days that I do that intro and it is just not the same. So, uh, yes, thank you for those golden vocal stylings, Sammy Joe,
God,
bringing
my
us
voice
in
is
hot
wrong
as
today.
always. We are here for the cookout, as Sammy Joe said. It is 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern on a Tuesday. Same bad time, same bad channel. So I think we're gonna do Clown of the Week, Dolores.
Yes. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, because a restream is the new platform we're trying to use. It's a little funny. We're getting a little used to it, okay? We're going to be trying some other things this week. We're going to be doing EV mugs. Yes, I want to say excuse the pre-watermarks that will be everywhere on EV mugs. It's going to be everywhere. So just know we got our best. We got you. We got you. And this cookout still going to come out. You got to give it a day or two because with this, we don't have cloud recording, so I got to go through hell and high water to get it. Okay? So, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, support our channel. Go to all these things, click the things below. We will have you. Also, ladies and gentlemen, to make it easier on the fellas out there, we're going to do a special overlay. So, your comments will be on the screen on the side like this. Hold on. Hey, everyone. Okay. So it'll pop up in a second. That's if I sent it. Did I send it? Yeah, I sent it. See? Hey, everyone. It'll pop up on the side so the guys won't have to click on everything.
Why
They
don't
can
I
just
see it?
focus. Huh?
Oh,
You couldn't
sorry.
open it.
Sorry. Did I just, because I don't
Yeah.
see it. Sorry.
Right there on the side where the Restream logo
Okay.
is at the corner. Yeah. So the guys will have it, but let me let me get my banners and stuff together for you all. First of all,
So,
ticker. Welcome to Workhouse Wrestling
Oh,
Network, and today we're gonna do my ticker. It is for Clown of the Week, and my Clown of the Week, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, it's gonna be special. It is the fans because I want them to be for real. Okay, be and for real. Okay.
which
Be
fans? Every wrestling fan, or just fans of a particular wrestler, or what?
it's me.
listen.
I'm,
I'm gonna
I'm the
tell
clown.
you.
Because I'm a
It's me.
wrestling fan, so you calling me a clown this
Listen, if you take it personal, it's about you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why I said because I said that I am saying the clown of the week is the wrestling fans is for many reasons. First of all, let's go into the first thing. Uh, all out and the suffocation, the injections. Yes, it might have been a little bit too much. But some of you all, when I click on your account that is going ham about this, is the same people who are watching Stars and watching Power. And you have no problem watching that. You ain't got no problem watching somebody getting their head obliterated by pew pew. Okay, so then you're gonna talk about a little phoniness that we know this man is not. He's tweeting. He wasn't injected with something and just permanently taken out of this earth. He is tweeting. Be real. Be for real. Okay? Also, for you people, and I mean you people, out there screaming for the second time this week, I've seen something stupid. Crying about Raw's not gonna be 3 hours. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why are they taking away the extra hour? You are the same
My
people when
God.
I check the
Hold on,
account.
stop for a second. Are you telling me Ra's going back to 2 hours
Yes.
on
And
Netflix in 2025?
and October. Yeah, around yeah.
Oh my God. My prayers have been answered. Are you kidding me?
Listen, there are
Praying
people.
for this. I've been praying for this night since it went to 3 hours. Oh, you're kidding. Oh, my heart is nice now. This is my birthday's Saturday. This makes my whole week. My birthday. Oh, thank God.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. It says it will come October
Oh,
7th. Until the show moves from the USA, it will be 2 hours. Listen, you people were out here complaining. Oh my God, why? I'm just used to 3 hours. But when you look on your account, you the same people that say it was good for 2 hours and the third hour was crap.
mm.
Hey,
Please.
yo, the winner
Why
circle
is
just got
your
an hour
comment just
easier for me. Like, we're
why
going to be
is
able to
your
cut like 30
comment
minutes of time.
just inappropriate?
I figured it was that sent the message without me having to actually say something inappropriate.
Listen, people, it it is be for real week. Okay, the fact that you all tripped out about all out and the two things. Oh my God! Also, the wrestling fan Tony Khan, the third strike of this week. Be for real. We all saw this man get a bag around his head. Okay, we know it's not necessarily real. Okay, for those who are shocked and amazed, I'm very sorry about your hurt at this moment. But you gonna talk about I cannot show this due to the graphic nature of the but you ain't have no problem sharing that needle spot. Beef for real. Okay? Wrestling
So,
fans out
were
here,
they
this week
fine
y'all
with the
been doing too
cinder
much.
block spot?
Yes. Big listen, I can do that in real life. I can do that in real life. Listen, if you don't watch wrestling and find the real life stuff you can do in real life, I can do that in real life. Okay? And that's why this week, the clown of the week is the fans. Because y'all need to be for real, okay? Go out there and touch grass for once in your life, okay? Get some
Listen,
coochie, some cat, and some wiener. Stop out here acting crazy. For you wanted Tariq to get his head blown off, excuse me, taken off on camera, but you so mad that a man got a bag around his face. They gave him oxygen afterwards. He seemed to be fine.
um, so two things. First of all, the needle spot, something I've never seen in wrestling before, and like
Oh,
after like
they've had it.
whatever it is, like over 80 years, like it's neat that they can still show us new things. Two,
They
I've been to the dentist. I've gotten needles in my mouth before. Like, I'd rather have a needle in my mouth than get thrown back first into a cinder block.
yeah. Listen, the cinder block. You can't pull no punches with that. That's how I know that's something I can do in real life. The needle spot. I gotta hold somebody down, get their mouth open, and this seems like a lot. Okay, anybody who got kids or nieces and nephews know when you try to hold somebody down as a child, not gonna work for a shot. Okay, let alone a grown adult with some huge muscles, not gonna work. Okay. Now, as somebody said out there, a fan, I would have kind of sort of appreciated if fire was incorporated because then that would have been 360. Okay, but you know. Can't ask for too much. And that's also another thing. Some of you all on y'all accounts, listen, one day I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna air you all out. On your accounts are fussing about that little needle spot, okay? Yes, it might have been doing too much. Doing too much, okay? Cash dog doing too much, okay? It could have been doing too much. But let's be real. Let's be real. The man burned the man's house down. This man had touched this man's child in his house. Do you think that was come on, haven't we been doing too much? At this point, they burnt a empty house down for no reason other than for the fact of a storyline. That should be doing too much.
Well, I felt like that was like poetic due to the fact of Swerve breaking into his house and while his kid was there.
Listen, I'm sad that
It's a
Swerve
full
lost and the
circle.
way he lost because that's just not right. That's just not right. You lost, kayfabe, you lost your grandma's house and you got injected with a needle. That's messed up. At a certain point, yeah, you might have been doing too much, but you didn't do that. You didn't go in there and inject his child. You just gave him a shirt, told him you'll be back to take care of him. That was harmful. Listen, the person you should have been mad at that situation is your wife. Where was she? Okay? Because she's probably been watching that child. Okay? A newborn baby, and she in her bed having a good time. Who is she having a good time with, or where was she at when this happened? Because they were making a lot of noise in their house. They had a camera crew and everything. You should have known something was wrong.
In the grand scheme, Swerve is still up 2-1.
I hope we're not seeing it a fourth time. I'm good with it now. Like that don't believe me the end of it.
You can't top what they did.
I want to say this is past. This is doing too much, but Tony, I understand you as a wrestling fan, but you need to go to a soap opera and book somebody like that. Somebody who writes for a living. Because all of a sudden, we done had fire. We done had home break-ins. We done had home versus home. And all of a sudden, the needle just come out. I mean, like, at a certain point, I was like, hey, man, why you got a needle? That's my first question. Why you got a needle? Why?
Like, they opened up the match with him stapling family photos onto his face.
Where did you get these photos from? The house that you burned down before you left? I need questions. See, this is where I said details matter sometimes. I need to know, how did you get these pictures? Did you photocopy them? Did you just take the actual pictures and staple them to them? I understand a staple gun. That's used to the... See, this is what I'm saying. This is where if you had a General Hospital or a Days of Our Lives writer on, they would have had the details. Somebody on the commentary would have been like, he took these right before he left Swerve's house. That would have been something. Okay? Give me something. I just want to know, as a grown man with a child, where do you hide this needle at? Did you get through airport? Did nobody say nothing? Did you pick it up from a junkie on the corner? Somebody. I need answers.
Well, that would be a job for the commentary team. And, well, me and ALW can't hear commentary while we're watching. So, for all we knew, they could have done that.
Listen, I'm through. I'm through with these fans. Y'all seem to... Listen, we all know the deal. And as somebody said, I think his name is Soul Suplex. Shout out to him. Funny content. Can be a little weird at times, but funny content. I'm just telling the truth. Sometimes he go too far. I would like to say, he said it best. As an older person, going to bed at 10 o'clock is the greatest thing ever. Okay? And I get to go to bed at 10 o'clock. And for me, as a gamer who games and my reset is at 1 a.m., I am ecstatic because I get to go to bed. And I get to just wait a while before I have to get back up. Listen.
I might play some Madden after this.
Listen. Y'all gonna have to start playing a lot of things after this, okay? A lot of things. A lot. See, the winner circle gets a little shorter. Tony, you see how we run short? We're not doing long things. I'm gonna try to keep it because the lady don't file a trademark. Keeping it very classy, very short. Okay? That's what we need to do. We need to do that more often. Also, shout out, cover your ears, spoiler alert. If you're listening and you haven't seen NXT, shout out to Hammerstone for sure. Hammerstone, finally. Man, you getting up and getting somewhere. I'm proud of you, my dude. I am very proud of you. Now they back to indie picking over there at WWE. So you know. You know.
He should have done it like 5 years ago, though.
Yeah,
hey,
you know.
Better late than never. Luckily, he's still fairly young.
What's that dude name? Who just got over cancer? I forgot his name.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mention it, like Damian Priest didn't come in until he was like already 37. So yeah,
a wrestler that just got over cancer. I'm not sure. Which was that? I don't know. Older, younger?
Younger.
I'm not sure.
Alicia Atute.
Oh,
Richard Holiday.
Yeah, Richard Holiday. Shout out to Richard. I think Richard needs a chance.
I agree.
Because he's a good worker, and also he can't go to AEW at this point. So you might as well just go on over to WWE.
him, Hammerstone, and MJF together, the Dynasty was the best thing ever on MLW.
Yeah, but I think Hammerstone is a real friend. You can't go over there with that man. He don't took that man, girl. I'm your friend and you took my girl. After I don't fought cancer and survived, we can't never be friends again. Ever.
Yeah.
I feel like Taylor Swift, we can never ever get back together at this point.
We can never ever get back together at this point.
So, what are you all talking about today? And hi, everybody. The 4 people in the chat. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We are trying Restream. For those who don't know, your girl on my channel did a whole live about it. They will be going up if you're a content creator and you're here. They will be going up on their prices, ladies and gentlemen. And when I mean going up, I'm talking about past the east side. They're going out of this world with the prices that they're going up to. And so we here at Workhouse Wrestling Network was like, it's time for a change. There are many options out there. For those who don't know, the cheapest plan is $44.99. The next plan is $88.99. And then if you're a team, like we're a team, it's $298.99. And that's a month. Nobody's going to do that. Unless y'all want to team up, that's what we can do,
Unless y'all some ballers, I mean, Wrestle Talk. I don't even know what they use, but Fightful or whatever
Listen,
they're using. I mean,
shout out to True Hill Heat. They were on this weekend for the football, and I told Romeo in the chat, and he was like, "We're gonna have to get a lot of more super chats." I was like,
you have to get a lot more super chats. So
True.
first thing we're going to do is talk about All Out from
Okay.
this last weekend, and then we're going to talk about some wrestlers, men and women from AEW and WWE that we think could move over to the other company and be successful.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of them don't seem like they mix too well, mixy at this point. A lot of people who are re-signing with WWE seem like they're at the age. No offense. A lot of mofos get hurt over their AEW. I know y'all be like, "Look, you're AEW hater." I'm not. I love AEW. I like the content. Also, that was some GCW level pay per view on All Out. Okay. Also, secretly, I just want to say, is All Out cursed? Because they always got a problem and security got to get involved every year. Every year, somebody about to fight somebody at All Out. I'm just saying, maybe as a Punk fan, I'm gonna say it again. Maybe he wasn't the problem. Maybe if listen, if you keep getting in bad relationships over and over again, and the same thing keep happening, it's a common denominator. Maybe it's
Yeah, you.
Yes.
Yeah. And everywhere he goes, he's got issues. That Punk is the common denominator.
No, but this time since he left, they still been having problems. Folk been fighting each other. Listen, how did you get mad at a producer? You are the paid talent. I would like, go get somebody else, find somebody else to do it. But instead, you wanted to fight this man. Listen, how bad did that have to be? And who was the producer? I want to know. Is it like another wrestler and that's why you wanted to fight him? Or was that like a regular stick twig on the street that you was like, I'm about to KO in the face? That's like me trying to fight Sammy. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. Because I got two options. I could just bop, 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 bop. Or as you all have heard on Seeing Stars and other channels when I do this, hit Sammy like that. Or I can let Sammy hit me and I call 911. Karen, hi. Oh my God, Sammy hit me. Oh my God, I don't know what happened. That's all I can do. Either way, he gonna be messed up. He can't beat me. If I beat him, it's still bad. He's in a lose-lose situation. And if he called the cops, that's Karen-like behavior. So either way,
Karen-like
Sammy is messed
behavior.
up.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I will say I can't take a hit.
You can or can't?
Can't.
C-A-T-C-A-N-T, can't.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, I just want to say, learning from wrestling as a kid, when you hit somebody with something in your hand like that brick, bow, right upside the head. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, wrestling has taught me a lot. Okay, The Alabama brawl taught people that swinging chairs work. Okay, listen, it'll teach you a lot of things if you look and listen. Also, I'm gonna tell you my secret. Don't go nowhere and now look around and see what you can pick up. Okay, because ain't no way I'm gonna lose a fight and there's 99 things around here. Not
I
gonna happen.
I remember one time in high school, buddy headbutted me in the back of the head, and like he was in pain after it, and I was laughing at him.
Oh yeah, I had that happen. Somebody punched me in the forehead and they almost broke their knuckles, and I just giggled. I giggled. I giggled. I find it funny. Pain really doesn't reflect me well. It takes me a while for it to hit me. But for people who have seen me, I was near death on a Seeing Stars live when I had to go to the emergency room that afternoon. I was close to death. It didn't phase me. You think your little punch is gonna phase? All it's gonna do is really make me mad. Then I'm gonna have to really beat you. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I enjoy my freedom. Then I gotta run. I don't want to run after that because then the police is coming. You done lost your teeth. I don't want to do all that. Okay. I just want to be able to just get up and keep it moving. That's why you gotta holler 10 minutes. We can do about 10 minutes, 5 minutes. We bop, 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 bop. Whoever wins out of that, just keep it moving. You want a round two? You gotta have a verbal agreement, Sammy. When you fight somebody, like you do with dating, you have to have a verbal agreement. Hey, this is what we're gonna do. Ain't nobody gonna call nobody on nobody, and then we're gonna get it cracking. That's what you gotta do. But I'm gonna leave the guys to this, and we're going to run this restream. Hopefully, it works out just as great on the intro as it did on the outro. Okay. Until then, I want to say peace.
See ya. Thank you, Dolores, as always. So myself, Sammy Joe, when he appears back, or I don't know, maybe he's still on audio. All right. We are going to talk about All Out. Did you happen to watch Zero Hour before we went live for the watch along? Because I did not.
I caught like the last half an hour of it.
Okay, so I mean, if you want to talk about I was just going to run through. I think it was 4 matches, or 3 matches on the card, and just kind of give the results. The Acclaimed beat the Iron Savages, which was odd for me. That seems like a weird matchup. It seems odd that the Acclaimed on 0 Hour. Seems like that's a little bit of a fall, and now they're wrestling the Iron Savages. I guess it is what it is. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara and the Hologram. Oh, and the Hologram defeated the Premier Athletes. I have not seen Hologram wrestle yet. Have you actually seen Hologram wrestle?
Mm-hmm.
And is it?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Bang Bang Gang defeated Dark Order. So Dark Order, that one I didn't see. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and was it just Reynolds and who was it for Dark Order?
Honestly, it was probably Reynolds, Silver, and Uno, but I don't remember. I don't really pay attention to the 0 Hour.
Yeah. Then the Undisputed Kingdom. Actually, I did see a little bit of this. Beat Mortos and whatchamacallit, Shane Taylor's Promotions. So Top Flight actually ready beats Mortos. Okay, I see. Yeah, I thought when I came in, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett were celebrating. So obviously, Undisputed Kingdom must have won that match. I don't know. Sounds like it was like 8 men. So,
all right, on to the show.
Show.
Was there another match?
No.
Okay.
Nope. I was just about to say first match of the show. Go ahead. Who was it?
Oh, I was supposed to have this up.
No, I've got it. It just sounded like you were ready to shout it out when you were all person. No, I've got it. It's MJF. It was MJF versus Daniel Garcia in a grudge match in which MJF got the win. But if you're calling each match a battle, Daniel Garcia must have won that battle because at the end, he was the one holding a bloody MJF and kissing him, much in the style as MJF did to him after hitting him with the bottle in the stand at the top of the stairs of the arena on Dynamite. So
Top 5 match of the night.
Definitely. Yeah, I
I
would
think it's
say.
in your top 3.
Yeah, yeah, I would say it's probably top 3 right now. I mean, I'll put it at 3 at the moment and see if it gets pushed out by the time we're done talking about it. But no, I thought it was very solid for what it was. I think I thought it might be Daniel Garcia's best match, and that's probably an indication of being in the ring with
Mm-hmm.
MJF because he's so good that he elevates the people that he wrestles with, and you can't help but hopefully rise to that level. So yeah, I mean, and I enjoyed it. Now I don't know. I mean, do you think there's more? You think we're going to get another one? I mean, is MJF going to, or you think this is it? I mean, what else do you want to
Oh,
see? What more do you
we'll
need to
probably
see?
get more.
And what more do you want to see? Do you want to see, how would you like to see it? Just another match? You want to see him in a cage? What do you want to see at this point?
Well, MJF's kind of petty, and I don't think he's going to let the beatdown after go, even though he won the match.
Right. I agree with that for sure.
Up
So,
next, we had the Young Bucks versus Blackpool Combat Club, which personally I thought was the worst match of the show. And it wasn't a bad
uh,
match.
yeah, no, I mean, that's an indication of how good the show was, probably. So,
Young Bucks and
um,
Blackpool
yeah,
Combat Club.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, what can you say? You got 4 guys in the ring that can really wrestle. I mean, anytime the Bucks are in the ring, it's fun. Anytime
What about
Claudio
the
and
other two?
I was just to say, anytime Claudio and Yuta are in the ring, it's fun. I mean, I mean, there's definitely. I mean, I don't know how other people rate it. I kind of rate it like Claudio, Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, Wheeler Yuta, or maybe even Wheeler Yuta than Matt Jackson, as far as like, if you're ranking them, in skill and whatever, so on. Claudio's probably the best of the 4. So it balances out, they got the best
I
and the
said
worst,
before
and
on
then
the
the 2 in the
cookout, I
middle.
think Matt Jackson's the better promo, but Nick is the better wrestler.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. Um, and so no, I mean, I did, obviously it's very interesting when the Bucks and Claudio or versus Claudio and Wheeler is the worst match of the show, or potentially the worst match of the show. So I mean, I enjoyed it. The Bucks still retained their titles, so which is fine. I mean, the Claudio, Wheeler, and Pac are already the trios
Yes.
champions, so it is what it is. I mean. Let's see. Next we had what was it? I lost my list here. Where did it go? Oh, Will Ospreay versus Pac for the Intercontinental Championship. This might have been the best. Well, this was the best match of the night until maybe the final 2 matches of the show. So yeah, I mean, this was amazing. This was a wrestling clinic. If you're one of those between the ropes fans, watch this match for sure because both these guys are incredible between the ropes. Not that that's taking anything away from their promos. I'm just talking about their ability in between the ropes. I think is Will Ospreay is, I think maybe the greatest between the ropes at the moment, and Pac is pretty up there. So yeah, I mean, I thought this gave me everything I wanted and more. It exceeded my expectations, which is tough because when I saw this on paper, I was very excited. So, what about you?
Um, like, there's an argument that this was the best match of the show. Like, definite top 3 for me. Definite top 3. I and it's not 3.
So there you go. Let's see. We had Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale in a Chicago street fight. I assume that when Dolores says we had a little GCW and AEW, this must be what we're talking about because we had some light tube action at one point. It didn't get quite as brutal. She didn't take the light tubes and gouge her forehead or anything, but she did smash them over Chris Statlander's head. So no, this was fun. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed this a lot. Of the 2 women's matches, this might have been a little funner. I mean, Cheetah and Mercedes was good, and we'll get to that. But just because it was a street fight and whatever, and a little bit of a grudge match. The thing between Sheeta and Mercedes, and like I said, we'll get to it, is that there really wasn't a whole lot of meat on the bone for me. There's a little bit more meat on the bone with Statlander Willow because they've been going back and forth. They've had this, they were teammates and now they're not, and the whole turning and all that stuff. So there's a little, more meat on the bone with the story there. So that's why I think I might have enjoyed this one a little bit. But yeah, I thought both women's matches were really good, and so this one was excellent, I thought.
Right, up next, we had the Fatal 4-Way match for the AEW Continental Championship. Kazuchika Okada defeating Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Konosuke Takeshita.
What do you think of this?
Honestly, probably the second worst match of the night.
Interesting.
But it was still hella good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean, that might sum it up. I mean, I'm looking at the list here. You might very well be right. I mean, obviously, barring 0-hour matches, but on the main card, you might very well be right. I mean, but it was still fun. Mark Briscoe's in his bag at the moment. I really enjoy Mark Briscoe. Catching coming, face to face with Okada is always interesting. I'm curious to see where that goes here because I think a one-on-one matchup is coming for that title here pretty soon between him and Takeshita. So. In Cassidy, I could take or leave, but
it feels
and
like
Okada.
The worst match on an AEW pay-per-view is the best match on a WWE pay-per-view.
I think that's fair to say. That's probably fair to say.
Because you put this match on a WWE pay-per-view, and I'd be balling out, going wild.
Yeah, right. And yet here you're like, it's all right. That's how spoiled we are with AEW at the moment, right? I mean, so we then had Mercedes versus Sheeta. She retained the TBS championship in a solid women's match. What do you think of this?
This is another contender for match of the night, and I think I'm putting this one in third. It's a tough debate between this one and what we're about to talk about next, but I think this is my third spot.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this. I'm not sure. I'm looking at this here. Man, I don't know. I kind of liked Willow and Chris. I mean, this was really good, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I got to think about this for a minute. But next we had Danielson retaining the AEW World Championship over the scapegoat, Jack Perry. But that really, I mean, as whatever it is, as good as the match was, which it was very solid. I'm not going to lie. Danielson, obviously is Danielson and he has good matches. Jack Perry, I thought rose, brought his game up a lot. Again, you're being, in the ring with one of the greatest of all times, maybe the greatest of all time, depending on how you sit on it. And so, obviously you can't help but elevate your game and he elevates the whole thing. So that being said, the real story is what happened afterwards with the Blackpool Combat Club, basically.
I wanted to rank this. For me, I put this fourth. I'd put it below Mercedes Moné and Hikaru Shida, but above MJF and Daniel Garcia.
Even with the afterward stuff that happens?
Yeah, I'm putting this number 4 between those two matches.
Okay. So after the match,
where would you put this match?
Where would I put this match?
It's kind of crazy to say Bryan Danielson had the 4th best match on the show, but
yeah, I mean, for me so far, I would say that this was third. I mean, at this point, I think Ospreay, I think Pac, I think Mercedes. This is tough. I'm gonna say for me, still Ospreay Pac is number 1 at the moment. I think the main event for me is gonna be number 2. Number 3 is Danielson Perry, and then number 4 is either one of the women's matches. I have to choose. I got to think about that.
Both women matches go over Garcia MJF.
I think so.
Oh,
I might put them
Garcia
both 4.
MJF didn't make your top 5.
I might put them both 4, 5, and then MJF Garcia 6, and then whatchamacallit 7.
Yeah.
Probably the 4-way, and then the Bucks at 8,
Yeah. We
which
have
is tough.
very similar lists on this.
So,
But
uh,
after the match,
tell us about it. What happened?
oh, you want me to?
Yeah, tell the
So
listeners what
it
happened.
was a will they, won't they moment for the longest time. I feel like I got swerved 5 times in 30 seconds. But the Blackpool Combat Club held back Yuta and betrayed Bryan Danielson after seemingly saving him from Christian Cage.
Yes.
Christian
So,
Cage was about to cash in for that championship.
right, Danielson got the win, and then Luchasaurus showed up, or Kill Switch, right?
Mhm.
And we thought that he was going to have a
Moment.
reuniting kind of with Jack
Mhm.
Perry a moment. That didn't happen. Instead, he attacked Danielson, and then out came Christian with his little whatever he has for winning an automatic shot for winning the oh my god, what did he, I forgot what he won to get the automatic shot. Do you remember what it is?
Ladder match, right? No,
Okay.
no, no, no. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So he's got an opportunity, much like Money in the Bank. He can cash it in at any time, and we thought we were about to see that. And then the Blackpool Combat Club showed up in theory to defend Danielson, who was in the ring. All John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, Wheeler Yuta, and yeah. And then they all climbed in the ring, and then
So
they
I was like, all right, Mox is out here with Blackpool Combat Club. I was thinking that he was
right.
on the outs with them, that he was going to be leaving them, but it looks like he's here to support them. Oh, wait, no. Maybe Mox is going to attack Danielson. But that didn't happen.
It kind of felt weird. Yeah, like they all got in the ring and they were like looking at each other, and I was like, "What's
Celebrating.
going to happen here?" And then all of a sudden, they rose. They shook. Moxley and Danielson had a big hug, and then they
Big hug. He even
all
kissed
held
him on the
hands.
head.
Yeah, and then they all held hands and raised Danielson's hands up, and then out of nowhere, here comes a big uppercut, European uppercut from your boy Claudio, and then it
Your
was
boy
on and
Claudio.
cracking. Then Pac, who's not even a member of the Blackpool Combat Club, held back Wheeler Yuta, who tried to go over and save Brian Danielson as Claudio and Moxley started to attack Danielson. And then John Moxley put a plastic bag over the head of Brian Danielson and proceeded to choke him out with a plastic bag over his head. What do you think about the use of the plastic bag and all of that?
I'm cool with it. Like,
Not too excessive for you?
no.
No. I mean, it wasn't necessarily for me either. I mean, I was trying to debate whether it was or it wasn't. I always wonder about that stuff because whether they like to admit it or not, whether we want to talk about it or not, there are kids watching, and that stuff is impressionable. And, you see it. I mean, let
But
there
if
be
they're
no
scared
mistake.
of it, if it like because that's the thing that sometimes kids do, and maybe it alerted some kids who didn't know, hey, don't do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. It could be. But, let there be no mistake. You see, like, when you watch these wrestlers' documentaries and their origin stories, all of them started wrestling in the backyard after watching wrestling or in their bedrooms and recreating all the stuff they saw on TV. So I do think that there is a little bit of responsibility just to make sure that you're aware of what you're doing. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying it was done wrong. I'm not saying I even have a problem with it. I cringed for a second and thought to myself, I wonder if that's is it too much? But so they choked him out. Danielson was out, and so clearly we have a something different going on with the Blackpool Combat Club. I'm assuming this is Wheeler and Danielson being kicked out. and I'm assuming Pac coming in because he's the one that held Wheeler. Well, Wheeler basically kind of cried and fought to try to get to Danielson. I mean, what do you think the long-term story here is?
Well, first I wanted to say I don't think that Danielson's going to have any problem with chokeout spots. Like in hindsight of him and Justin Roberts, like nearly 15 years ago. Like,
I don't really remember. That's too far back for me to remember. But whatever.
so
But
NXT, not NXT, Nexus debuted on the main roster. They
okay.
beat up the crew and everything. They tore up the ring. And Danielson grabbed Justin Roberts by his tie, pulled it behind his head, and like choked him for like a good minute.
Okay.
Justin Roberts, the announcer who relies on
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I know who Justin Roberts is. Right. So, yeah, no, I mean, Danielson probably doesn't have a problem with any spot, but he's a psycho. I mean, a lot of these guys are crazy. So, I mean, that doesn't mean that, just because Mick Foley's willing to do it doesn't mean he should be thrown off the top of a steel cage 25 feet through an announce table. So, I don't, but that being said, I don't want to also sound like I'm, whatever, because it wasn't like I thought it was too much per se or anything. I just, it does. I do think about it because sometimes I think, oh, I want my grandson to watch wrestling. And I think, wait a second, let me wait a little while longer, maybe, because
well,
he's
you can
already very
curate
impressionable.
matches.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Of course you can, 100%. All right. And then we had our final match of the night.
Which
The
honestly,
main
we've
event.
talked a lot about in the beginning of the show during the Clown of the Week.
We did. It was Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland.
My
In
match of the
which
night, you're number 2.
Hangman Page got the win. Yeah, I think so. I still think just because I think the between the ropes action was so amazing that Osprey and Pac just me as a favorite. We're talking about favorite. I'm not. If we're talking about best match of the night, I mean this might have been the best match of the night as far as like the one.
This was storytelling.
Although let's just say it was also very interesting because it felt like the stuff with the Blackpool Combat Club and Danielson could have been the end of the show. Like that would have been a fine main event segment, and it would have ended perfectly with Danielson going out.
Any other
Just like
pay-per-view it would have.
Would have. And then we had this segment. So at first I was like, oh, how are you going to follow that up? And then these guys, which for the most part they did. I mean, this was pretty much everything you could ask for before both men came to the ring, before the cage came down. They had some extracurricular activity. Then the cage came down and then it got crazy, just as you expect a cage match would get. At the very end, however, after unceremoniously ripping out his grill, Hangman Adam Page produced a hypodermic needle and then proceeded to shove it into the mouth / cheek of Swerve Strickland. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very original thing to do. I've never, like as you said, we've never seen the hypodermic needle. At least I haven't. Not in that way. I don't think ever in wrestling ring. So yeah, I mean, I thought this was good. But that being said, I also am going to say it again. I said it at the pay-per-view at the time in the watch long. I don't need to see any more. This is it. I don't think they can go any further. I don't think there's any real more. There might be more meat on the bone with the storyline, but just the match itself, I don't know where else to go at this point. So, and I just don't know that I want to see it again. I'm ready for them to move on and do something else at this point. So whatever that is, I don't know what that is, but what do you think they should do? What do you think each guy should do next? Any idea? If you're fantasy booking this, where they go? What's next for each guy?
I think Hangman's going to be winning a title. I'm not sure which title.
So is that Danielson's title?
No, I'm pretty sure that's heavily contested already.
So Jack Perry's title?
Maybe Will Ospreay's.
Oh, interesting. So Ospreay, Hangman, and you think Hangman gets the win? Wow, anyone getting a win on Ospreay, it definitely is a rub for their career. I mean, or for them, that's a big rub. I mean, Ospreay doesn't have bad matches and doesn't take losses, so. That's a big one. I mean, to be fair, I always find it really interesting, and I don't, I'll be 100% honest with you. I had never heard. I'd heard the name, but I'd never seen Hangman before AEW. And then they talk about the pillars, and I feel like AEW is, or Hangman's a homegrown guy, and I'm not sure why he's left out of kind of that conversation.
He,
Maybe because he's a little older, which I don't know that he actually is.
he,
Um,
he's around my age. He's like a year older than me.
yeah, so I mean, he's the same
Um,
age as a lot of those guys, or maybe
yeah.
a couple years older. But
It's because he was in Ring of Honor and New Japan and everything, mostly Ring of
okay,
Honor. Like he was with the Elite, he came up with the Elite. Like all the other Elite members became EVPs aside from him, though.
that's when I wasn't watching Ring of Honor for a while, so I guess I must have missed that stuff. So.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it's much like the Bucks. Like I was familiar with them, and I had seen a couple matches. Like I knew who they were, but not overly familiar. Like really, I mean, I've got to know them really through AEW. So
like honestly, the story of AEW like goes hand in hand with the story of Hangman Page. Like,
interesting.
because like if you look at it, like the first match for the championship was him and Jericho, and he lost, and he finally was able to get the win over Kenny Omega, which, EVP of the company, and win the title. And, then he loses it to CM Punk. And, like, that's a whole, like, another chapter of the book there, where then Punk is injured. Mox carries the title. Mox loses the title to CM Punk. CM Punk is then fired. Mox and Hangman then have the match to name the next champion, and then Mox beats Hangman again. And like all that then leads into Swerve telling him like, you lost your grit, you lost your mettle, you're not the man anymore. Like you gotta get your groove back, and like if you're not gonna, you've been given all these opportunities, if you're not gonna use your spot, I'm gonna take it.
Right.
And that's where all of that started. And now here we are now. It's like,
Yeah. So that was the main event of All Out from Saturday night. Do you graded it at the time? You stick it with the same grade? I think you gave it what, a 9.25 at the time, right after the show, or 9? I
I
forget. You
said
were
it's a
right there
9
at some
point
point.
something.
9 point something. You want to give it a final here? Had a couple nights to sleep on it. A week. Not really a week, a few days, but 4 days.
Honestly, I might go with 9.4.
Yeah, I mean, at the time I said 8.5. I think I'll go 8.75. Maybe, yeah. I mean,
Like, I can't think of anything to change on this pay per view. Like, this is basically a flawless pay per view.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded. I would have just changed some of the endings, and I think for me personally, I think there was still too much ultimate like things that interfere with the matches for me, and that's an issue for me. So, little, whether it's outside stuff or whatever the case may be, to just make the matches not quite just clean and whatever. So, that's why I think it's a little whatever. Uh,
Also, another thing
just
about
a
my
hair
grading
lower.
scale, nothing's 100. Like, the best pay per view of all time is like a 98.
Well, there you go, folks. Sammy Joe is a hard person to please. So,
I'm hard to please, and I gave it a 94.
so bringing us to our main topic tonight. We both have 5 men and 5 women from WWE and AEW that we think would work good in the opposite company, just AEW and WWE. No, oh, they would work better in TNA or New Japan, none of that. Just ones that would work in specifically opposite WWE and AEW. And I don't know about you, But I tried, and I'm not sure I was 100% because sometimes I don't remember everything perfectly clearly. You'll have to tell me. Sometimes I miss some things. I tried really hard to make sure I used people that were not in the other company at some point before, one of the other companies at some point before, i.e., the Cody Rhodes, Keith Lees, the Miros, those kind of
Malachi
things.
Black. I did that too.
I tried to pick guys that had only been in one of the two. So
Actually, there's one name that I think they were in NXT for like half a year, but
okay.
like honestly, while I was writing the list, I had completely forgot that. So,
And I had
and
totally, I mean, I don't remember everything and I don't pay attention to everyone and I don't know everyone's origin story. So there might be a person on here that you're like, oh, wait, well, they were in NXT, oh, fuck, I don't remember that. So, but we'll find out. Or I saw that person on Dark and I'd be like, what are you talking about? I never saw that. So we'll find out. But I think since there's only two of us, I think we should just go one name at a time and discuss them as we go.
okay.
And, where do you want to start? This was your topic. This is your idea. Where do you want to start? Men, women, AEW, WWE.
Um, let's start it off with the WWE men, and then we'll close off with the AEW women.
Okay, so WWE men. All right. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
All
Number
right, give us
5.
your. Okay, so you've got these actually in order. I didn't necessarily
Mhm.
put mine in any order, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine are in order. Yeah. Number
Okay.
5, Chad Gable. Number 4.
What's interesting? Go ahead. Oh, I thought we. Oh, did you want to just do them one at a time and then talk about them, or no?
Oh, we can talk about it. Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you
So
want.
I do my 5, you do your 5.
Oh, that's how you want to do it. Okay.
We can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was going to say you do your number 5, then I do my number 5, and then you do your number 4, and I do my number 4. But that's fine. You can do your 5 if you want. But I do have Chad Gable. But I'll be honest with you, I have 7, so I couldn't get it down to 5. I got 7. I know. I know.
I
So
mean,
2 are
technically, I
honorary.
have 6 for my AEW list, but while we were getting started on here, I was like, okay, I think this is the one I cut.
2 are honorary. I don't know which 2, but Chad Gable's one of my 7, so we already have a crossover. So I'll say yeah. So go ahead. Go ahead and give me your 4 through 1.
Uh, Number 4, Damian Priest. Number
Okay.
3, Jacob Fatu.
Okay.
Number 2, Drew McIntyre. Like
Okay.
you don't seem to uh, agree with that as we were discussing on Saturday.
Drew.
Drew McIntyre.
I don't know. I mean, I know that he had a successful run as Drew Galloway in TNA. And I think I wasn't watching New Japan at that time, but I'm pretty sure he went over there and had a little bit of a successful run over there too. So, clearly he can do other stuff. I just feel like, even though he's been other places, Drew just feels like a WWE guy to me. He's big, he's beefy, he's um in my opinion, when it comes to other big men that I've watched, I feel like he's not the most athletic big man out there. And I just feel like he's perfect for the WWE style for me.
I mean,
I
honestly,
don't
my
know how
top
much
3
track.
names I think are transcendent talents. Like
I
Jacob
don't see. I
Fatu,
don't.
I think he can go into any company and he will thrive. Drew
I would
McIntyre, I
agree
think
with
can go
that.
into any company and he will thrive. And my number 1, who I believe could go into any company and thrive, is Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah. So we do have quite a few crossover. I've got Seth as well, as I think the number one person that could benefit from a crossover from going to AEW. Um, I have a couple other names, but I have Jacob Fatu on here. Like I said, I didn't really have them in a list of 1 through whatever, but I've got Jacob Fatu. I also have Chad Gable. I got a couple other names that I think are interesting here. You can tell me where you might place them if we're going to adjust some things. So I've got Finn Balor, who, even though he's a little older, I do think would be good in AEW
He
because they
would be
value
good. If we were doing a
they
top 10, he'd be in my list. KO would be in my list. Sami Zayn would be in my list.
So you just said two other names I was just about to say on my in my 7. So I had Sami Zayn and KO in my 7, and then I got two other names that I don't know that you even thought of, but I think would be perfect and for totally opposite reasons. I've got Ilya Dragunov. Not that I don't think he works great for WWE. I just think, like you said, I'm not sure I'm going to call him a transcendent talent. And it's out, but I think he's the kind of guy that has the ability to work anywhere. And I think his style would work fine in AEW. I think he'd have some fun matches there.
I think he would actually be best in New Japan.
And maybe that's true. I mean, that might be true. But I'd love to see him in AEW. And the other person is Carmelo Hayes. I think
I
Carmelo Hayes would be really good in AEW as well.
I had thought about Carmelo Hayes too. He would also be in my top 10. Wow, so we
So
had a
those
lot
are
of crossover.
We did have a lot of crossover, and I think we ultimately had the number one crossover, which was Seth Rollins. I think we both
Mhm.
agree that he's the one that we would honestly want to see the most. And then we both had Chad Gable and Jacob Fatu, so I'm good with like Jacob probably being 2, Chad being 3, and then we can debate the other ones because the other ones we had crossover, but outside of 5. So
I mean,
um,
the thing is that 2/3 of the Shield are transcendent talents. Like Moxley, he can go anywhere and he
mhm,
will thrive. Rollins can go anywhere and he will thrive. Roman is WWE.
I would agree with that for sure.
I don't think Roman works anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, but like I like AEW, and I wouldn't want to see Reigns. So he would ruin AEW for me, but that's probably a little unfair to Roman Reigns. But it is what it is. Honestly, when Jacob Fatu left MLW, I was really hoping he was going to sign with AEW, and instead he signed with WWE. I get it; he fits perfectly into the Bloodline storyline, so I get why he did it. And they probably backed the truck up to pay him because he's what he is, so I get it. But I just selfishly wanted and was hoping he would end up in AEW. So maybe he'll do a stint here. Maybe once the Bloodline storyline becomes stale in 6 months or a year or two and they blow it all up, maybe we'll see him make a move. I don't know what his contract looks like with WWE, but none of these places, do contracts that are super long. So, I mean, maybe even if it's 3 or 4 years, I mean, we'll see. So there'll be a time where he could potentially make the move at some point. So,
My
so
number
we
10
still need to fill a
spot,
fourth. Go ahead.
my number 10 spot would have been Obafemi, but I think like with Hammerstone going there now, it's like, oh, whoa, Hammerstone. I feel like he'd do real well in AEW. I think he would especially do well in a tag team with Hangman Page.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I could see Hammerstone doing really well in AEW. I mean, again, I mean, I don't want to say that everybody I say this about is a transcendent talent because I don't necessarily think that, but I do think he's the type of guy that could probably be successful almost anywhere. I just think, I mean, he has that kind of air about him. So, and he carries himself well. He's a decent talker. He's a good wrestler, and he has the look. I mean, if for nothing else, if you have a wrestling company and he comes knocking, he's getting in the door because he has that look. So, and yeah, I mean, I like Hammerstone. I have not watched NXT yet, so I did not see him make his debut. So I'm excited to see that or his appearance. But I'm a big Hammerstone guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we still need to basically fill out 2 more spots. We've got Seth Rollins at the top. We decided on Jacob at 2, Chad Gable at 3. We still got 2 more spots if we're shipping 5 guys over. Who are we agreeing on? I've got Sami Zayn,
Well,
KO,
between
Finn,
Drew and Damien, which one do you prefer?
Damian, I think. I think Damien's a little more versatile. I think he's a little higher on my list
Well,
than Drew as far as being able to go
and the
to.
thing is I feel like Damien would work better in AEW than he'd work in any other company. Would he be world champion there though? Well, I mean, I guess that's not better than because he was world champion WWE, but like,
Right. Yeah.
I feel like his character, his style of promo, the way he wrestles, like he feels like AEW.
I would agree with that as well. I would agree with that as well. So that's number 4.
I think so.
And then I think Sammy or KO. I think that's really where we got the other. We both have both of them. So one of them should be number 5, I think. Question is which one?
If you're asking me, I'd go with Sammy.
And it's funny because if you ask me, I go with KO. But that's just because I'm nostalgic for Ring of Honor Kevin Steen, and I want to see that again, which I don't feel like we've seen in W. But maybe he can't do that. Maybe I would be disappointed because maybe he's 20 years older now and can't do that, or 15 years older now and can't do that. So I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, you don't want to go with Drew, so how about we go with Carmelo Hayes
At number 5?
at number 5.
Yeah, okay. I'm good with that. So Seth Rollins, Jacob Fatu, Chad Gable. Why am I drawing a blank on number 4? What?
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest, and Carmelo Hayes. So that's a solid 5 to go to AEW. I think all 5 of those guys would. There's a lane for all 5 of those guys in AEW for sure. Okay, so are we doing WWE men, or what are we doing next? I'm sorry, I know you kind of AEW women, or WWE women.
Let's do WWE women. Get WWE out of the way.
All right, so let's do WWE
we'll do
women.
AEW after.
All right, let's do this one round robin style. Let's each give our 5, and then each give our 4, and each give our 3 instead of our whole list at one time.
I can't say her name as well as Anika can, but Chelsea Green.
She's your number 5?
She's my number 5.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously Chelsea Green is extremely versatile. We know that she was great in TNA as well. And everywhere we've seen her, she's done, great work. So I have no reason to think that she wouldn't thrive in AEW. The only question that I would have, and it's not even a question because she's already more talented than some of the people that get television time, is that maybe between the ropes she might not be at the level of, say, a Thunder Rosa or a Serena Deeb or a Jamie Hayter at the top of the card, but she's better than a Sriracha, who gets a lot of airtime. I mean,
I think she's very similar to Britt Baker, but better.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. So my number 5 is Roxanne Perez. I think Roxanne Perez would be really good in AEW. I think she's right at that sweet spot where she could be a top card, mid-tier, low card main event person. I don't know that she would be a world champion. I think she could be for sure. But TBS title's probably a sweet spot for her. I'd love to see her versus Mercedes Moné. I think that would be fun. So that's my number 5. What's your number 4?
Bayley.
Ooh, interesting. We have the exact same number 4. Literally the exact same number 4. I had Bayley number 4 too. I was debating putting her at 5, but I went with Roxy at 5. So I got Bayley at 4. So yeah, I mean, we can talk about it if you want. There's not a whole lot to necessarily say about every single person, but Bayley's very versatile, and there's no reason to think that she wouldn't be successful anywhere. And I think she fits the AEW mold well as well. I mean, I think watching Mercedes be what I consider so far successful in AEW would lead me to think that any of her constituents, peers, especially the 4 horsewomen, wouldn't have any problem. The only one that I could see having a problem, and she didn't make my list, and she probably wouldn't make it even in 10, is Charlotte. Yes. Just because I think she's so WWF or WWE, I apologize. Wow, there's a slip of the tongue. So WWE, but the other 3, definitely. 2 of which are on my list, actually. So that gives away the other one that's on my list at some point. So, so we both got Bayley at 4. Who do you have at 3?
Shayna Baszler.
Ooh, that's spicy. She didn't make my list. I hadn't thought about that, but that's nice, though. I'm trying to think. That would be fun. I mean, I'd love to see Shayna, again. You said something to me the other day that kind of didn't shake me to my core. It wasn't like that, but like it was something that I didn't know and kind of made me reevaluate a little bit about The Undertaker and how he was asked to kind of limit some of his athletic ability. So now I wonder sometimes like how much WWE now is holding these people back. I already assumed they were holding Shayna back a lot. So probably even more than I think. So I'd love to see her go somewhere else where maybe they'll, take the handcuffs off and let her do a little bit more. I mean, I don't know, show, even more kind of personality, more skill in the ring. So I think Shayna Baszler would be fun.
Shayna versus Serena Deeb, Shayna versus Nyla Rose.
Yeah,
Like, there's some options there that could like.
n- n- no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, no, I think that would be fun. So that was your number three. My number three is Io Sky. I think Io Sky fits in perfect over there. I mean, we've seen that they have other Japanese women that are kind of similar. That would be the only wrinkle, is that I don't know. I mean,
That's why I didn't put her on my list. Actually, is
I
because I
don't
was.
know if she. I think she's kind of like if you're talking WWE and you're looking at Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky, she's probably in the middle of those two. I think she's
I
probably a
would
little less
actually
than
put her at the
Asuka.
top of those.
Yeah, for me, I think Oscar. Well, for me, I have a little bit different opinion of Oscar. I think Oscar might be the. I think for me, Oscar might be when she's going right the best women's wrestler on the planet. So,
If we were
um,
talking 5 years ago, I'd absolutely agree with you. But
and maybe that's
Asuka's in her
true.
40s now. She's
Yeah,
not as smooth as she used to be. And
yeah, maybe that's true. But
Io's
yeah,
like 33 and she's smooth as hell.
yeah. So yeah, so number three for me would be EO. I think she'd be a lot of fun over there. So I mean, we've seen. I think she would fit right in. So who's your number two?
Naomi.
Oh, interesting,
I
interesting,
don't know if
interesting.
she would go, though, because of her husband, but like, I
That's
feel
a
like
name I
she
had
would
not
have
thought of.
so much success there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the women's division needs, more just warm bodies, but more really good wrestlers. So,
Mhm.
and
And she's such
Naomi's,
a personality, too. And her
she is too.
entrance, like,
Yeah.
imagine her entrance at pay-per-views. Like,
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, she has that it factor for sure. She's got all that swagger, all that charisma. She's got that it factor for sure. And she's extremely camera friendly, which a lot of people still aren't. Like, it's very interesting to me to see people that have chosen to make a career of being in front of the camera and still don't ever look comfortable being in front of the camera. It's like there's some people that always look like deer in the headlights, and this is their fucking chosen career to be in front of the camera. She doesn't have any of that. She is 100% calm in front of the camera. She knows who she is. She owns it, and she's great. I mean, so I think Naomi would work everywhere. I mean, I think she's one of those people that would work in any company.
yeah,
So,
I absolutely
um,
agree. Transcendent talent, another one.
yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Um, I think the next two are interchangeable for me. And if you have one of them at your number one, I'm fine with it. If you don't, then we'll talk about it. But I'm going to go number two just because I made a comment earlier, even though you kind of made me think about it a little bit. So I'm going to go number two here, Becky Lynch. I think she has the ability to go anywhere and be a superstar. I just think she's that good. She can talk that well. She can wrestle that well. She just is, I mean, I'm not the biggest Becky Lynch fan, but I can respect and recognize how good she is. And I think she'd be fun to see in AEW. There's a lot of matches over there that would be great. Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, even her versus Mercedes would be fun again, so yeah, I mean, I would love to see her in
The
AEW.
one woman who AEW would pay more than Mercedes, probably. And that's what I imagine.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, if they could get Becky Lynch away from WWE, I mean, yeah, I'm sure they would back the truck up for that. I wouldn't mind seeing Seth and her go as a package. That would be fun.
Yes.
So, all right, who's your number one woman?
My number one is another person who I think is a transcendent talent, Rhea Ripley.
Ooh, interesting, interesting, interesting. I gotta think about that for a minute. I'm just trying to think of like how well, I mean, Jade did really good. And I think of Jade as kind of that same tall, muscular, kind of monsterish woman build. You can build Rhea that same kind of way as kind of that juggernaut that can't be beat. So they probably could book her right. I I do think that she is an anomaly in AEW. AEW, their women's division seems to be usually women of smaller stature, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit faster, maybe a little more athletic, which is probably why I think sometimes Nyla Rose might not get as much love as she should or as much TV time as she should, because for whatever reason, Tony really seems to like the more athletic. I mean, he says it. This is where the wrestlers wrestle, right? So, um, or this is where you come for wrestling, or whatever his little
But
statement is
Rhea
about that.
can wrestle.
I'm not saying she can't. I'm not saying that she can't. I'm just saying that her stature isn't the typical woman that AEW seems to have a lot of. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe she would stand out and make herself a really nice niche and be whatever. I think she has the talent. I wonder if she's not what Tony necessarily, all these guys have things in their minds, right? Of like what they think, blah, blah, blah. And I just think
See,
maybe she's not Tony's ideal, whatever, but who knows?
I
I could
see
be
her
totally
going
wrong.
over there and being like the Bull Nakano of AEW.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. So my number one, and you're going to put a kibosh on it because you already did a few minutes ago by saying 5 years ago. My number one, and I still think when she's going great, and I still not sure that I agree 5 years ago. I think she could be the number one wrestler on the planet when she's going great is Asuka. So I would love to see Asuka in AEW. There's a lot of matches over there that I feel are dream matches for her, and I think that AEW. I don't know. I'd have to go back. I'm not familiar with Asuka prior to WWE, so I don't know. But I feel like we could see more from her in a place like AEW where she's got a little bit more freedom to either decide her own creative or be more involved in her own match structure or just be free to do more of what she can do. It took me a long time to come around to Asuka. For a while, when she very first came, I was like, I really like it. And then she really kind of not wore on me is the wrong word. Grew on me is the right word. The more I watched her, the more I started to really appreciate her. And when I think she's going right, I think she's the best wrestler on the planet, female wise.
I think she's perfect in WWE. That's my only problem. Like would she work in AEW? Yeah, I think she's a transcendent talent. She can work anywhere, but I think she would work best in WWE.
Yeah, maybe that's fair. So we've got to put a list together. So we had Bailey was our crossover. Did you
And that's
have?
the only
Oh,
one.
that's the only one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. So does that mean she by default becomes number one?
No, because we can
No.
we can change her mind, but she's probably going higher than 4.
Okay. So who do we want to talk about first? Okay, so if you expanded your list, who's Rhea would be in my top 10, probably somewhere. So, I'm not necessarily opposed to her being on the list somewhere. She wasn't in my 5, but I only did 5 names. So, as I'm thinking about it, I don't see why I don't think Rhea would be in my top 10.
Um, why don't you pick 2 names off my list, and I'll pick 2 names off yours, and then we can
Because
discuss.
I'm already too stoned and forgot what Rhea,
Um,
honestly.
so
What?
Rhea,
Right.
Naomi, Shayna,
Naomi.
and Chelsea Green. Those are your 4
Okay.
names. Choose 2.
Naomi and Shayna, I think would be my 2 choices that I think
So
best.
not Rhea.
Chelsea Green, I think we already know, but probably, yeah. For me, I feel like Rhea's great in WWE. That's probably like you feel like Asuka. I just think she
Okay,
fits
yeah,
that WWE mold perfectly. So,
that's fair. Okay, and I will pick from your list Becky and Io.
okay, that's fair.
So
So now
now
we
we
just
need
have
to
to
place
place
these
them.
5 names.
Right.
Um,
Um, Out of
I'd
those 5
probably
for me,
say
I
we can
think,
go ahead and put Naomi at 5.
okay, that's fair.
Uh, I had her over Shayna, but she probably doesn't want
Yeah,
to lose the
I'd be
company with
fine
her
with
husband.
Shayna or Naomi at 5, either one of those guys at 5. I was kind of thinking Shayna, but Naomi's fine too.
You think Naomi should be higher than Shayna?
Yeah, I think Naomi's a little higher than Shayna for me just because she has a little bit more of that it factor. For me personally, the only thing Shayna's lacking, and maybe it's WWE and the way they want her to be presented, she doesn't have a whole lot of personality or charisma. She's not a bad talker. She just doesn't have a whole lot of personality. There's not a lot of life there. Naomi is a superstar that just oozes charisma. So I think they can be 4 and 5 interchangeable for me. So I'd put Shayna at 5 and Naomi at 4 probably, and move Bailey up the list to 3 at this point, and then
Well,
go from there and see who else, whether she moves her up or not, or stays where she is.
well, I was wanting to put one of my people over one of your talents.
Okay.
So I believe that Becky belongs higher in the list than Io.
Yeah, I mean, of the 5 that we've decided to go with, I feel really strongly that without an Oscar on the list, that Becky is the best on the list as far as going over there. I think she's the best woman on the list of the 5 that we're talking about at this point.
I'm fine with that, especially since we went Rollins number 1 in the last list. Let's put Becky number 1 here, Bailey number 2.
Okay. Io number 3. Or Naomi number 3, Io number 4. You want Shayna at 3? I mean, Shayna over Io
Okay.
and Naomi? I mean, let's be honest.
I was thinking Shayna, but we'll do Naomi. Naomi at 3.
Okay.
Io at 4. Shayna at 5.
Okay. I'm good with that. Oh, yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
I'm good with that. All right.
Oh boy.
So we've
Turning
got
into a hell of a list.
we've got AEW women and AEW men left since we've knocked out WWE.
I'm gonna write down what our results have been.
Yeah, so we can tell them to everybody after we are done. Are we doing men next since we did men first? Men, women, men, women?
I'm trying
Or
to
men, women, women, men?
get down who we had
Okay.
in the previous list.
Okay. Do you remember?
I think so.
We went Mellow 5. I believe it was
Got it.
Sami Zayn. Okay.
No, it wasn't Sami Zayn. I got it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So next we'll do AEW men.
Okay. AEW men. 1, 2, 3. I got 7 again. Sorry. And then
Unless
no
you
real
want to do women
particular
first.
order. I do only have 5. Wait, let's see. I've got 5 women. I've got 5 women and 7 men. So you
So should we do
choose.
women first?
Sure, let's do women first.
All right, ladies first. All right, my number 5. Anna Jay.
Anna J. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have
I
a
actually had
problem
her
with
at
that.
number 4, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm going to move my 5 to 4 and move my 4 to 5.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, she definitely wasn't on my radar at all, but that's just because I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think she would fit the WWE style fine. I mean, she's kind of along the lines of the Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss. I mean, size and stature wise, that's what I'm kind of talking about. So I mean, she could fit in. I mean, I don't see why not.
Well, also, like, it's WWE, so all these people are probably going to NXT first.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So my number 5, I think because they don't do it well, but they do it sometimes, and they've had a few. I think Nyla Rose would be fun in WWE. They have Nia Jax, who's kind of another big woman. They've had Tamina in the past and some other. I think Nyla Rose would be fun. They like to have big beefy women sometimes to juxtapose with the smaller women. So I think Nyla Rose would be fun.
You
I
don't
don't.
think that
Here's
WWE is too conservative for?
I was just going to say that's the only concern that I have, but I wasn't really thinking about that at the time that I did this list, just because that bothers me, so I don't want to give it any credit, if that makes sense. The fact that that's even something that we have to think about irritates me, so I don't even want to think about it, and I just kind of removed it from my mind and criteria and just went with it anyhow.
Man, you gotta keep in mind this is WWE fans, and I've seen comments that WWE fans have made on Twitter about her, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
it feels like a tough situation. I won't honestly wouldn't want to put her through all of that.
And maybe that too. I mean, I know that they've been hard on her with the AEW fans have been hard at times too. Some AEW fans too. So I mean, I don't, unfortunately, we live in a society in a country where a lot of times it's not easy on those people. So I don't. I mean, it's very unfortunate. It shouldn't be that way. She should have the right to go anywhere and then work and do whatever. And I think style wise, which is all I was thinking about. I think
But
she'd be good in
her
WWE style wise,
versus Nia Jax would be a hell of a slobber knocker.
right?
Big meaty women slapping meat.
Slap, right? That was the one I thought about for sure. That was the one that was kind of at the top of my list. So, all right, who's your number 4?
So my previous number 5, who has now moved to my number 4, after looking at this list again with fresh eyes, I'm like, I think I'll put her higher. Penelope Ford,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
super bad
definitely.
girl.
I
I,
could see that.
I think
Again,
she'd kill it on NXT.
she's got that kind of, she's in that shorter, blonde stature kind of look to her. She's got a lot of talent. She can wrestle and she can talk. So I think she'd be good in WWE. I mean,
Uh,
I think she'd be good. She'd be really good in NXT. We'd have to see her at the main roster. That's the only question that I would have would be potentially at the main roster. But I don't think she would have. I don't have any reason to think she wouldn't be successful.
I think she's every bit as good as that one girl, Tiffany. I think she's every bit as good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely
I
agree
would
with
imagine she's got a better Boston Crab too.
that. All right, so my number 4, because I didn't actually put these in order, so I'm trying to now as I'm doing this. Number 4, I think I'm gonna go Chris Statlander would be my number 4. I think she has kind of that. She's also kind of tall and larger stature. She's kind of built similar, I think, to Rhea Ripley a little bit, kind of Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill a little bit. She might be a little smaller than them, but she's still kind of got that air to her. So I think she would fit right in. I think her versus Charlotte would be a lot of fun. Her versus Bianca would be a lot of fun. So I think Chris Statlander would be great in WWE.
If you think Chris Statlander's a good pick, you're gonna love my next pick.
All right, who's your number 3?
Camille.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. My only concern with Camille, and she didn't make my list, is even though she's been doing it for a long time, which concerns me a little bit, I'm not 100% sure she's ready. She still looks a little clunky in the ring now. She's on AEW, which is a big stage, and she's with Mercedes, which is a really huge stage, which I mean, we can debate whether, how much bigger WWE is in AEW or whatever, but that would be my only concern, but she fits right in. I mean, her against Charlotte would be great. I mean, her against, Bianca or Rhea. I mean, all those matchups would be phenomenal.
Honestly, I'd probably have Camille be working with Nick Aldis on SmackDown with the, like how Sonya used to be with Adam Pearce. I'd
Yeah.
probably do that with Camille and Nick Aldis.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, I mean that would work. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, and my only concern is that I thought Nick Aldis was going to wrestle at some point. I don't know if he's injured, decided he doesn't want to, just whatever the case may be, happy doing what he's doing, but just seems kind of odd. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to say it as it was up, but those are the QR codes. You can scan them as Dolores put them up. The horsey will take you to Linktree, and the other one, I'm not totally sure what the other one does. I didn't pay attention before. Maybe Dolores should pop in and tell us what the one on the right does. But the one on the left, the horsey, will take you to Linktree, which will take you to all of our social media. Is the right one just for restream? I think it might just be for restream, so maybe it will bring you to this stream. I'm not totally sure. But all right, so that was your number 3.
It's the same code.
No, it's the same code. Okay. So both of them will take you to our link tree, which will take you to all of our social media. So scan either one. So that was your number three. So my number three will be Britt Baker. I just think she's probably talented enough to do it anywhere. And honestly, because I think she has a little bit less of, for me, she feels very WWE. I feel like WWE protects their wrestlers a lot and
Hmm.
does a lot to make sure that they look good more than kind of AEW does. That sounds weird to say that. I'm not really sure how to express what I'm saying, but I think you kind of get it. And I think Britt Baker just fits a little bit of that WWE mold a little bit better than the AEW mold. I feel like she's a better. Okay, let me put it this way. I think she's maybe more of a sports entertainer than she is a wrestler.
Yes.
And so WWE seems to fit more for her than AEW. So she's my
I,
number three.
I honestly don't hate that. Like that sounds pretty accurate to me. My only thing is like they already got Chelsea Green, and like I think Chelsea Green is just a better Britt Baker.
Yeah. No, I
I
mean that's
mean,
definitely very
Chelsea
debatable.
Green's a top five woman for me in WWE. Like Britt Baker would probably be top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right, who's your number two?
My number two, which I will say, my number two and my number one are both people who a lot of the names you have mentioned for the WWE going to AEW to face are the AEW women I'm about to name.
All
Uh,
right.
Number two, Jamie Hayter.
He's my number two too. That's so funny. We have the exact same number two again. So yeah, Jamie Hayter was number two on my list as well.
If we don't have the same number one, Jamie Hayter's moving to the number one on our shared list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah, no, I mean, I think Jamie Hayter is the type of person that can do it probably anywhere. I mean, I've only seen it in AEW, so I don't know, but she
I've seen it in
strikes me as the
Japan.
kind of okay.
She used to be
So
in
she
a
strikes.
tag team with Bea Priestley, Blair Davenport. I keep on
Okay,
forgetting her WWE name. And
yeah.
honestly, they could bring that back, like women's tag team champions, the two of them. Like,
There's
shit.
a name that's in my that should be in my top 10 list of women from WWE to AEW, Blair Davenport or B
She would
Priestley,
never
because
do it. She would never,
yeah,
because like I don't think she wants to be in the same company as Will.
yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong about
Uh,
that. I don't know about their, you know, like how amicable their breakup was. I don't follow tabloid stuff. I just know
right.
their exes. Like typically, you don't want to work with your ex,
Yeah, I can understand that. So we both got Jamie Hayter. Yeah, I think she's one of those people that can work in it, and I think
especially
she
with her
fits in
new look.
WWE.
Her new look
Yeah, she
looks
fits it
way
very
more
WWE.
WWE.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, so who's your number one?
My number one is Thunder Rosa.
Oh, interesting. You had a little bit different direction. All right.
So
So yeah,
WWE wrestles a safer style. Thunder Rosa has to wrestle a safer style now because of her past injuries. And like so it just kind of feels like the two and two go together and you get four.
2 and 2 equals 4. Yeah, I mean, my I don't I don't know. My only concern with Thunder Rosa in WWE is whether they would appreciate her enough to give her the right kind of booking. And but that's neither here nor there really when it boils down to it. Style wise, I think she would be great in WWE. They have a lot of good matchups that would be there. I mean, I'd love to see her versus several people. Her versus Asuka or Io would be
I
great.
I was actually about to say I imagine her booking would be pretty similar to the way Asuka was booked.
Yeah, yeah. Which for the most part, I don't have any problem with. I mean, I think that would be fine. So I think that's a good one. My number one. And she's not a transcendent talent, but I do think we've seen that because it's been successful in AEW, and I think by default, just because of so many things, she would be even better in WWE. She's one of these people that can work probably anywhere, and I think she was really good in Japan. You can confirm this. I only saw a couple little things before, but Mariah May is my number one at this moment in time that I think would be a perfect fit for WWE. She has that kind of Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton air look to her, and I think she could slide right in there. She has the aesthetic look. She's athletic. She talks well. I think she'd be perfect for WWE, in my opinion. I think she'd even be better for WWE than she is for AEW, and she's killing it in AEW. So
I hear you, and I felt the same way, and that's why I went with Penelope Ford, because Penelope Ford's also in that similar bracket there. But I felt like the super bad girl, like that works, and it's unique enough to where it doesn't like step on the toes of Tiffany and Charlotte. Where
right.
I feel like Mariah May is like if Tiffany Stratton was great. And like if
Yeah.
you get Mariah May over there, like why would you have Tiffany Stratton?
Yeah, I mean, well, you don't at that point, so you can get rid of. I, no, I mean, and I think Mariah is good enough that I mean, you would. I mean, unfortunately, she probably pushes Tiffany down the ladder a little bit, and depending on where Charlotte is, I mean, it's debatable whether she's better than Charlotte in the ring, and she has kind of the same look too. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Charlotte's the queen, and she's my queen, so I'm not going to say too much negative about it, or too much about putting Mariah May over on her. But they're very similar in my opinion, and so I don't know. I mean, I don't. I think they're I just think she'd be great for WWE style.
But so you think more so than Penelope, huh? Man.
I just think that Mariah's a little. I mean, I didn't even think about Penelope Ford. She wasn't on my radar anywhere. I mean, I don't know how far out the list would have to go before she got on my list. So, whereas Mariah May is number one on my list. So
Well,
yes,
yeah,
I do
she's the
think
current
it's over
champion
Penelope.
in AEW. But also that's
What?
the other thing is like she's the current champion, and like when was the last time we saw Penelope?
Right. Yeah, sure. No, I agree. So which is probably part of it, right? I mean, like I don't even really think of Penelope Ford. Um, so in my mind, yeah, I mean, there's not much of a comparison, and I'd have to see Penelope Ford again. But I mean, I remember her being on Dark and Dark Elevation a lot. I mean, I don't remember her really breaking even out on Dynamite too much or Collision or Rampage. I mean, she was, but not a whole lot. So I don't know. I mean, they feel like they're at a little bit different levels for me. Which I think you kind of see by the booking. I mean, Mariah May came in and was booked immediately right into the main event picture. Now, some of that is that she already had a relationship with Tony Storm, so I guess that is what it is, right? So they were kind of using some of that, I guess. But either way, she was booked right into a main event picture, and she's a champion right away. Penelope Ford's never even been champion, let alone I think in a main event match for a title. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's take that for what it's worth. I mean,
Yeah. Has she never challenged for a single championship? Wow.
I don't. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think so. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, they really
There
only
might have been a
have like.
thing. There might have been a thing back with the bunny where they were doing like a tag match, and then it would have been during the era of Britt Baker, I would assume. No, because like wasn't Britt
I
working?
thought
I think they
maybe
were working together.
so. Jade went what 50-0? Was she one of those 50? I mean, I don't.
Not that I can remember. No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to think. They only have the two singles titles, right? The
Hmm.
women's championship and the TBS championship. So she's never wrestled for the women's title. So Um, yeah, I don't think she's ever wrestled for either one of those. So, yeah. So I mean, I don't, So take that for what it's worth. I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't know if that what that means per se. I don't know if that sways you at all. I don't know if that changes anything or whatever. But I mean, it feels like there's a reason why Mariah May is champion and Penelope Ford isn't on TV. That's not to take anything necessarily away from Penelope Ford per se. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah, like I never thought her matches were bad. I mean, sometimes she's a little rough, but I mean, so is
Right.
Athena,
Yeah.
and we love
No, I mean,
Athena.
yeah, and honestly, like had Athena never been in WWE, and I saw not that Ember Moon was bad, but just how much better Athena is, I would probably have thought of Athena. But knowing that it didn't really work for Ember Moon the way it has for Athena, like I wouldn't want her to go back at this point. Like, stay where you are, keep doing what you're doing. You're clearly better not in WWE. But she is one of those, had she never been in WWE, I would have naturally thought would have been good in
Mhm,
WWE. And Ember Moon, to be fair, Ember Moon should have been better in WWE. I mean,
mhm.
not that she was terrible. It's not like they
They
booked
had
her
her chasing
terrible.
after the 24/7 title. Like
When she went to the main roster, yes, that's true. On NXT, though, she shined a lot.
the problem
So,
was once she left NXT and she got into Vince's hands, and
right, exactly. Yeah. So, so we both given our 5, and Jamie Hayter was our only
she's number one.
crossover.
She's number
So
one.
she's our only crossover. She was both our number 2, so she's got to be our number 1.
All right.
So,
So I'm going to name my 4 names, and I want you to pick
okay,
2. So
okay,
Thunder Rosa,
yep,
Camille,
yep,
Penelope Ford, and Anna Jay.
yep. Definitely Camille. Camille for sure, because I think she fits the WWE style perfectly. That being said, I do think that that's loading up on a lot of people that are kind of similar. I mean, I think she's kind of a Tiffany Stratton,
Oh, I don't think
Charlotte
so.
Flair. I'm just talking about aesthetic wise, kind of
Oh,
stature and
aesthetic.
aesthetic wise.
Oh, I was thinking like
Tall,
personality, promo, like
tall, blonde, that kind of, kind of
I see her like
muscular.
a I see her as like a white Jade Cargill.
No, I could definitely see that. I think Jade's a little bit, probably, no, I think Jade's a lot better talker. I mean, to be fair, we don't hear Camille talk very often, but when she does, the few times I've heard it, it's not all that impressive. So, but again, getting a script from WWE might help a lot. So,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely Camille. And then I got a choice between Anna Jay, Penelope Ford, or Thunder Rosa. Um, I feel like you'd like Penelope Ford on that list, but I think I'm gonna go Thunder Rosa
Okay.
just because I think she's a little more fun. I think just in my mind, she provides a little bit more. They don't really have like first of all, they don't I'm trying to think, do they even have Zelina Vega? I'm trying to think of another Latina wrestler. I mean, they have Electra Lopez, I guess, who's a Latina, and is Lola Vice. Lola Vice is Latina, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Um, So they do already have a couple, but yeah, no, Thunder Rosa.
Selena
I think
Vega.
yeah, that's what I said. Zelina
Oh,
Vega, she was the first one I mentioned. So, but I think she'd be fun. I think she'd be fun. I think Thunder Rosa would be fun, definitely on NXT for a little bit. Like I'd love to see Thunder Rosa versus Julia. Like that'd be
mhm.
fun.
Uh,
And to be
they're,
honest with you,
they're
good.
bringing in Stephanie Vakir, and like
Yeah,
that might be a match of the year contender. Those 2 women.
yeah, yeah. So, I'll be honest with you. I'm still a little surprised that whatchamacallit, Julia signed with WWE. For me, I feel like AEW is a more natural fit for her style, but I still do believe 100% that, um,
I actually don't know
W-
about that.
no, I still believe that WWE for a lot of these wrestlers still feels like the top of the pile. So you get the opportunity to work in WWE. How could you not at least take it and try?
Because
So
like personality wise and like the whole like image, presence, aura, that's the word. Aura. Julia comes off as like a John Cena Roman Reigns to me. Like her presence.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. The problem is her stature doesn't quite equal that. She's
Oh,
not very big. And so when you put her in the ring against the Charlottes, the Rhea Ripleys, the Nia Jax, she's going to be significantly smaller. And
I,
so I don't know how
I,
that plays per se.
I mean, John Cena and Roman Reigns aren't the biggest dudes either. Like a lot of
No,
John Cena was him facing dudes bigger than him. Edge, Randy Orton.
Cena is definitely a lot smaller. Roman Reigns is, I think, a little bit taller, but yeah,
I think
Cena's
he's like
definitely
an
on the
inch taller
shorter
than
side.
John.
Okay, well, it seems
They
like
do
he's a
make
little
him
bit
look
taller.
bigger. They make Roman look bigger.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Julia's probably, she's the kind of talent that can work anywhere. I think that's probably goes without saying. So she's a transcendent
Mhm.
talent that I'm sure can work anywhere. I feel like she's one of those where she's more, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just that I haven't seen her enough. And this is taking nothing away from any of her personality or promo. I just feel like for me, she's more of a wrestler that talks than a talker that wrestles, and that seems to be more AEW. I feel like between the ropes, they value the between the rope talent more, and she's so good between the ropes that I think maybe it gets a little overlooked in WWE. That's never been the thing they valued the most. So, I don't know.
You're not wrong. Like she'll probably end up in a like like Kevin Owens. I she she's the female Kevin Owens. Honest. Like she can go in and she can be the prize fighter.
Right?
Like
No, I mean I can see that
everything
because
Kevin
KO's
Owens
not.
is, I see in Julia.
Yeah, I can see that because KO has made it to the main event level without really having that same stature or look or aesthetic, whatever. I mean, on skill and getting over. I mean, his ability between the ropes and his ability to give a great promo and organically get over that stuff doesn't matter as much. So, yeah, no, I mean, I can see that comparison. It'll be interesting to see what ultimately she does and what it looks like. Even both in NXT and ultimately when she gets to the main roster, both her and Stephanie. I'm curious to see how they do this. So, um, all right, so we still need to come up with a. Did we come up with a number four?
Oh
Oh, I gave you two names, Camille and Thunder Rosa.
yeah.
So,
So give me your list again.
besides Jamie Hayter, it was Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, and Mariah May. You thought that there were too many issues with WWE being conservative with Nyla Rose. You agreed that you thought Britt Baker was perfect for WWE. So I would think that she might be one of the ones you choose. And then Statlander and Mariah May. Felt like you thought Statlander was more of a natural than Mariah May. And that you don't really need Mariah May because you have Tiffany Stratton / Charlotte Flair.
Although I do see Statlander being very, very similar to Camille. So
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I think she's a better talker, but yeah.
yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, I feel like out of those women, I probably would go with Britt Baker and Statlander.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what I thought you'd be leaning towards when thinking of those four names. Those seem like the two that I thought you'd pick the most.
All right, so now we gotta arrange
Place
these.
them. Haters
So
one.
Camille
Haters
versus
seven.
Statlander.
Are we talking 4 and 5?
Uh,
I
that's what
think
I was
Camille should
thinking.
be 5. I think Camille should be 5.
Okay,
Statlander probably 4.
and then we're left with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker to continue their forever feud.
I would say Britt at 3, Thunder Rosa at 2, and Jamie Hayter at 1.
I dig
I'm
that.
comfortable with that. I mean, I think Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker are very interchangeable. Either one could be 2 or 3. I wouldn't have a
Mhm.
problem with it either way. So, I think I think Thunder Rosa's got a little bit more personality or
I
unique
should stand out
personality.
more.
I think, yeah, she's a little bit more unique. So I'll put her at 2 after Jimmy Hager.
All right.
All
So
right.
I'll
So we're
just
down to
write that.
AEW men, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down real quick though.
Yeah, of course.
Hater,
So we have made it through
Frozen.
AEW or WWE men and women that we thought 5 WWE men and 5 WWE women that we thought would do great or thrive in AEW. And we just did 5 AEW women that we thought would thrive in WWE. Next, we're going to do 5 men from AEW that have never been in WWE that we think would fit the WWE style perfectly.
So I had such a hard time narrowing
Yeah,
it
I've got,
down to
like I said,
five.
I've got 7 men here, so
My
take that
number
for what it's worth.
6, like I had so much trouble. My number 6 is Powerhouse Hobbs.
Okay, again, I didn't have these in any order, but Hobbs was on my list, so I'll give him 6. I'll say that was that's fine for me because he would have been 6 or 7, so I'll go with him at 6. So we both got the same number 6 at Hobbs. No, I think Hobbs works perfect. He's that big meaty guy, i.e., Bobby Lashley, the Braun Strowmans, those kind of guys that
I
can come
mean,
in and
he's not as tall, but he definitely fits like a Big E, but like not fun and loving, like
yeah,
mean, a mean
right,
Big E,
yeah, yeah.
which
No, I think
WWE
he
could
would be
definitely work with.
I think he would be perfect in WWE, and I don't think Vince, or I guess he's not there anymore. But and I don't know if they still do or not. But whoever had the issue, whether it was only Vince or whatever that had the issue with Keith Lee, you don't have those same issues with him because he's got that aesthetic look, right? He's ripped, and so he's feel good about that. All right, so that was number 6. So I guess give me your number 5, and we'll see where we're at.
Daniel Garcia.
Oh, he wasn't on my list at all. So okay, so Daniel Garcia, yeah, I mean I don't think there's anything wrong with Daniel Garcia. Um, on the, I mean,
I mean, unless you don't like his dancing.
no, my only concern is that I think on WWE he has the same issues that he has in AEW, which is that I don't know that he has enough personality and he doesn't stand out enough. He's very kind of. I mean, this with MJF, I think is the most personality we've really
Yeah.
seen, and the dancing is a little bit, but like even when he does that, it feels honestly for me like the dancing is fun, but it feels almost fake, like he has to work to do it, like it's not natural for him, like that's not his natural. I think his natural stature is to just be more shut, more quiet, much more reserved. He feels very reserved, very quiet, very stoic to me, and so I just don't know that he has that. But maybe with WWE promos and the machine behind him, maybe it would be different. I'm not sure. In between the rings, I mean, in between the ropes, he has the skills for sure. He might have too many skills for WWE. I mean, they might have to slow down a little bit of some of what he does. I mean, I don't know. I mean, depending
Now,
on how
like
they feel about it. But
I don't see him as being a future world champion, but I definitely see him winning the North American title in NXT. Like
yeah, I could see that. I could see
I,
that.
I can definitely see him running clinics in NXT.
So yeah, I can see that. I mean, I don't think there's any issue with that. My number 5 um is going to be Wardlow. I think Wardlow, much like Hobbs, has that kind of same big guy WWE fit kind of right in with the big men slapping meat, and I think he works that WWE style, which is have 1 or 2, maybe 3 really good moves that you do well and just accentuate those. I mean, you come in WWE and give these guys 10 power bombs and the fans would love it. And that would be, I mean, he's, i.e., Brock Lesnar giving 15 German suplexes. I'm not saying he is Brock Lesnar. I'm saying that same kind of performance. And I think that's right in Wardlow's wheelhouse. Plus, he'll get scripted promos from them. So he doesn't have to worry about having to come up with what he has to say or talk for himself. He can just repeat the words they give him. So for me, I think Wardlow's a perfect fit for WWE.
I can't argue with that. So number 4, I have Hook.
Ooh, interesting. So I think Hook would be great in NXT, and I know that all these guys will have to make a stop there. I think he'd be great in NXT for a while. I think he needs to be in a developmental situation for a while. I feel like they threw him on AEW Dynamite too quick. They gave him too much too fast because he was Taz's son. I don't think he was
Yeah,
quite ready. I think he
instant
was
screen
stagnant.
time and instant adoration from the crowd. So they had
Right.
to basically rush him through to get him in there because the crowd was hot and they
Exactly.
wanted it.
Exactly. Right. So I think that, and I think he was stagnant for a couple years in a lot of respects. So even though he was getting airtime, I think in the last 6 to 8 months, I've seen a lot more progression, which I like. So I think he's perfect for NXT. I don't know. I'd have to see him on NXT for a while before I think if I'm ready for him for the main roster for WWE. Right now, he can't talk in my opinion. I mean, he's had a couple little okay whatevers here and there, but for the most part, I don't think he's shown me he can talk. And even with the script, you still have to be able to do something. So at this point, he doesn't really have a whole lot of personality. And I think his personality is probably not to have a whole lot of personality. I think he's just kind of aloof and like, I don't give a fuck, kind of i.e. Orange Cassidy, which to a certain extent is okay. But I'm not sure that that floats as well in WWE. I think between the ropes, he's fine. I think between the ropes, he's good for WWE style because, like, they like to have, like those guys that do 4 or 5 moves really good and can repeat those moves over and over again. He's one of those guys. So he
Mhm.
can get in there and throw suplexes all day long and the same suplexes and make them look really good. So, yeah, I mean, I think style wise, he fits that. I just wonder about personality and promo wise, whether he's good
It's,
enough to be
it's all about pairing him with someone.
a sports entertainer. Right now, he feels a little bit like a wrestler, but yeah, you're right. I mean, to a
Like
certain extent, it is about pairing him with someone.
Chad Gable, Sami Zayn. Like, you got plenty of people with plenty of personality that if you pair them together, it'll be comedy gold.
So yeah, Hobbs was 6, Wardlow was 5, number 4. I'm gonna go number 4. I'm gonna go Brody King.
Ooh.
I think Brody King is perfect for WWE. I think he's got that. I think he would be perfect as part of the Wyatt Six. If he had been on the roster at the time, he'd be perfect for that kind of role. He'd be one of those guys. He might be the
Thing
best of the
is,
bunch.
he'd be the best member. Yeah, that's what I was
That's what I
saying.
was saying. I mean, he might be the best of the bunch because he's that good. But I think he fits in perfect with that kind of occulty, dark, which WWE does well. So far, in my opinion, they've shown that. I don't think AEW has shown that they do that as well as WWE. They haven't had the success in the past that WWE's had with, i.e., The Undertaker or the Wyatt, even Bray Wyatt in his earlier days, or some of these guys that have had that real dark feel to them. I don't think AEW's achieved that. They've tried a couple times. So,
Personally, I
uh,
want to pair him up with Damian Priest in a tag team.
oh, see, that'd be a lot of fun. I could see that. That'd be perfect. So,
Like I had
that'd
Damian
be,
Priest going to AEW, but like
the
if you
two of
let
them
Brody,
together would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number 4. What's your number? Or that's my, yeah, number 4. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Wardlow.
Okay, so there we go. So we're both on the same. He was my number 4. He's your number 3. We probably have the same reasons for
Mhm.
us or my number 5, right? He was my number 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Because yeah, 5, 4. Then we're doing 3 next. So, and we already talked about Wardlow, so, this is 3, right? So my number
Mhm.
3 is do. I'm trying to. Man, I'm gonna go Roosh. I think El Toro Blanco would be great in WWE. We've seen Mexican wrestlers get over. I think Roosh is extremely talented. He would fit in great with either. This is terrible to say, either Legado or LWO, just because WWE happens to stick people of the same race together. So for no
Well,
other reason than that, I think he would
he'd
fit
pick
either
up
one great.
Andrade every time. That's his brother.
Yeah. So there you go.
Neo Armano.
So right, right. So there you go. We can see them together. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and I think he has something that some of those other guys don't have, which is that he wrestles like a powerhouse. He
Mhm.
doesn't wrestle like a luchador per se. He wrestles like a powerhouse. And I think that style is a little more fitting for WWE. He doesn't have to be quite so versatile in his moveset. He doesn't have to be jumpy, leapy guy. He could just be horns down, straight, go at it, roosh, and just run through people, which would
I'm
be a lot of
digging.
fun.
I'm digging your list. Yeah, like I can see it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, who you got at number 2?
My number 2, Ricky Starks.
Yeah. I mean, that's one that everyone's talked about. He didn't make my list here, but that's one that everybody's talked about. And I think he's right. My only concern, again, is simply stature. WWE is
Mhm.
so big on guys that are big, and little guys come along and they do fine for a little bit, but like they always seem to kind of get lost in the shuffle a little bit. I don't want to see, I think he has enough personality to probably keep him from being lost in the shuffle, but I just get concerned. I don't think he's I don't. I'm going to say a couple names that I aren't necessarily people that I think he compares to. I just think that he could potentially end up in that same fate. I see him kind of maybe having a Ricochet type career, not the same type of wrestler, just the same kind of career in WWE, and Chad Gable a little bit. Mid card, top of the mid card at times, but never quite over the hump. I
Yeah,
don't know if he gets to WWE heavyweight champion or anything like that. I think he's probably intercontinental.
I
Uh,
could see him
or
being half a step above them, but only half a step, never making that
yeah,
actual full leap.
sure. He'd be wonderful. He would be a great NXT world champion. That he
Mm-hmm.
would be great in. So I could see him thriving in NXT. I don't. I mean, I think personality wise, he's probably good enough to thrive anywhere. I just don't know that they would push
Um,
him or book him like that on the main
only
roster.
way I see him winning the world title is Money in the Bank.
Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. So my number 2 is Hangman Adam Page.
Ooh.
I think Hangman would be very fun in WWE. He's he's a good talker. I think he's very I think the character plays well. I think the cowboy character would play well in WWE. I think we've seen it in the past. Not maybe to that quite an extent, although there have been some guys that have been to that extent. But I think that kind of country boy, cowboy plays
Okay.
well to the
Mhm.
WWE crowd.
Gotcha.
I so I just think he seems to fit. I think for me personally, especially in the ring, his style is very kind of WWE-esque. I can see that. Although that's not to take anything away from his in-ring ability, because I think he has good matches in AEW. I think it fits a little bit more with the WWE style of wrestling.
I just feel
Like
like
him versus Randy Orton, him versus Gunther, him versus Bobby Lashley for that matter would be, I mean, all those guys I think would be a lot of fun.
I just kind of feel like he's one of the most important people to AEW. Like him, Mox, and formerly Kenny Omega. I don't know if we're gonna see him again, but Kenny Omega was one of those guys too. And it's like it feels wrong him not being there.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't think he would ever go. Well, I'm not saying he would never go. He's still young enough, and who knows whatever could happen. But never say never. But I just feel like he would fit well.
His story is the story of AEW. Like just
Right,
following
that's what
his
you were saying.
career through AEW is
Right, you can see the parallel for sure. It could be the Hangman Adam Page story. Absolutely. All right, who's your number 1?
my number 1 is Switchblade Jay White.
Ooh, that's spicy. I like that. Yeah, I think Jay White again. My only concern is just his size. But other than that, I mean, I think,
His
when because I
his
worry
size
about
isn't all that different to Hangman.
right. I guess that's true. I mean, he's bigger than Adam Cole for sure. I mean, I wonder what I think of like the Adam Coles and the Roderick Strongs, and I think of Jay White kind of in that same vein a little bit, size wise and stature wise. And they were great on NXT, but never quite there on the main roster. So I worry a little bit about. whether that's, but I mean, Jay White, personality wise, man, he would thrive in WWE. I mean, the promos and being on a big stage, he's one of those guys that loves to be in front of the camera. There's no deer in the headlights look. Like he knows exactly what to do when he's in front of the camera.
I mean, his height is on point. He's exactly like as tall for the stature that they're looking for. It's just he's kind of skinny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
But
and
I mean,
he's not that skinny. Like,
right. Maybe it's just the way the camera shows him. I don't know. But like you said, I mean, Roman Reigns, they make him look bigger than he is. So, I mean, you know, you can do a lot of stuff with camera work. So it's always
I think
interesting
he's
to
the
me to see
same
these
height as
people
Roman. Like, I can
in
Google
real
it
life.
real quick. Okay, Roman Reigns is taller. Is he really?
Well, how tall is Roman Reigns and how tall is Jay White?
It says that Roman Reigns is 6'3".
Okay.
That's the same height as Brock Lesnar.
That sounds about right to me. Okay.
Jay
And Jay
White's
White's what, 5'10"?
6'1".
Oh, wow. Taller than I thought he was. Okay. So he's significantly taller than like Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. Those guys are like 5'7", 5'8". So
Yeah.
he's significantly taller than them. It's funny because he kind of looks like on the same level as those guys. But no, I mean, I don't have any problem with Jay White. I mean, I think Jay White would be very good in WWE. I think he's got definitely the promo skills. My only concern, again, would just be how they book him. That's my only concern. But that's my
And
concern for
another
anybody in WWE.
another thought that I go to is Jake the Snake Roberts. Like, so Jake the Snake Roberts, way back in the day, he got injured, and while he was out injured, gained a lot of muscle and came back super jacked. He was as big as Hulk Hogan. And Vince got pissed off and said, "You're not going out there like that. Like, I want you to be lean and svelte, be a heel, be the bad guy, and like you're not supposed to look like those guys."
Right.
And
So yeah, no, I mean in that vein, I mean, yeah, I could see similarities between a Jay White and a Jake the Snake Roberts for sure. I mean, I think there's I could see that. I could see a Jay White having that same kind of role, um, as a Jake the Snake Roberts. Yeah. So I don't have a problem with that. That was your number one, right?
mm-hmm.
All right. So my number one is Kazuchika Okada. I think Okada is perfect for WWE. He has that. I'm going to say it. Everyone hates it when they hear it. And I know people are going to argue. He has that 5 moves of doom down perfectly. He's the kind of guy that can come in and do exactly what you want to see over and over again and do it at a very high level. And I think he's big, he's strong, he's tall, he's a superstar. The jury's still out on whether he can talk, in my opinion, because I still, even in AEW, he doesn't really talk, so I don't know. But I'm sure with the WWE script, whether his English is good enough or not, I'm not sure. But I think Okada seems like a perfect fit for WWE, and I know that both of them were vying for him when he was leaving New Japan. So, and I'm assuming the AEW sucked him in with more dream matches, probably whatever the case may be. Can't imagine they paid him more money. Although that's not to say that Tony Khan doesn't have a ton of money, because they do. So maybe they did offer him more money. I don't know, but I know that both of them were interested. I just think he's a perfect fit, wrestling style, and just his whole kind of air about him, I think, works perfect for WWE.
So between mine, Garcia, Hook, Ricky, and Jay White, which one do you think is the best pick?
Garcia, Hook, Ricky, or Jay White? Well, definitely, I think Ricky Starks would be my number one pick. If I'm having to pick two, it's between Hook and Jay White for me. I think Daniel Garcia is number 4. The question is, probably Jay White. Yeah, I think Ricky Starks and Jay White would be my 2 on your list.
Okay. For yours, I have to go Okada and oh shoot, I'm trying to remember now.
So I got Roosh, Brody King, Hangman, Okada, Hobbs, and Wardlow. Those were basically the 6 that I had. I mean,
It's between Brody King and Roosh.
yeah.
All right. Well, let me just write these down. Brody King, Roosh, Jay White, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, Hobbs, Okada. All right. Oh, that's 7 names. We got to mark out 2. So
Well, Wardlow was on both of our lists, right?
yes.
So he's got to be at least number 5, probably. I mean, I think he's number 5 because he was 7 on my list. So both
Was
him
there a
and
name
Hobbs.
on your list that you didn't name?
Yes, there is. You want to know who it was?
Yeah.
Luchasaurus Killswitch. I think size-wise, style-wise, I think he would play very well. I think that character would work well. I see him as kind of like just stature and size-wise, and the way he conducts himself in the ring, you're going to think this is kind of an odd comparison. He feels a little like an Undertaker to me in the way that he moves. He's got that kind of style, same athletic ability.
He was
Big
almost in the
guy.
White family.
Yeah, and he would work there too as well. So he was
Well,
number
he
7.
almost was a decade ago. They almost put him
Okay.
in.
Okay.
And WWE instead ended up firing him.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, that's right. He was with WWE before. So technically he shouldn't be on that list then. I forgot. See, that's one of those that I forgot that he was on the list. So, but he was my number 7. So Wardlow was 6 and Roosh and then or Hobbs was 5 and then up the list. So Roosh 4, Brody King, Heyman, and Okada.
All right. Well.
So, but we both had Wardlow and we both had Hobbs, right? Those are the 2 crossovers.
But we both had Hobbs at 6, so it's possible for him to get in, but Hobbs would be getting in at the number 5 spot at best.
Right. Yeah, I mean Hobbs and Wardlow would be 4 and 5 or 5 and 6 if we wanted to.
Wardlow could be 3.
Oh, Wardlow could be 3. Okay.
Because we both had him, and that was the only other.
I wonder. You think Wardlow's a better fit than Hobbs? I guess we both had Wardlow higher than Hobbs. I mean, I had Wardlow.
We both had
Wardlow
5. Higher than Hobbs.
I had Wardlow at 5, and you had him at 3.
Yeah.
Or you had him at 4. Okay, you had him at 3. And I had him at 5. So we did both have him 1 spot above Hobbs. So, or 2. You had 3 spots above Hobbs. I had
2. I had him 3 spots above Hobbs.
Right.
I had Hook and Garcia between, but Hook and Garcia are out, so let's not worry about them.
Okay. So so I think Hobbs should be 5, teetering on 6, depending on what we end up with. But yeah, 5. And then Wardlow should be either 3 or 4. I don't think he should be any higher than 3, but he should be 3 or 4.
So Okada, Brody King, Roosh, Jay White, and Ricky Starks. This is tough.
It is tough. It is.
This is the toughest one we've done. Because we got 7 really good names here. Who do we got?
Yeah. This is true. This is very true. I mean, I think Okada belongs on that list somewhere. And I don't know where you're comfortable putting him, but we're looking at.
So out of the 3 names, Okada, Brody King, and Roosh, do you think Okada is the one that's like definite has to be in there?
Man, that's so tough. And probably he's probably the one that fits the style the most. Oh man, that's tough. I do think the two that seem to fit the WWE style the most, but I still think they're the lowest on the list are Hobbs and Wardlow. But I think Okada's probably next. So yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I think Okada has to be on the list. Brody and Roosh are, man, it's tough though.
And out of my list, you liked Starks the best, more than Jay White.
I did, but yeah, Starks and Jay White were my two, right? But Starks was definitely my number one choice from your list, other than obviously the names that we had in common. Out of the other four, yeah, Starks. I'm a huge Ricky Starks fan, so.
Right. I'm looking between Brody King and Roosh right now.
Or are we looking at number 3 or number 2? Where, I mean, what spots are we talking about here?
I was thinking for taking off the list.
Oh, oh, okay. So right now we've got what Wardlow at 5, Hobbs at 5. Uh, we're still trying to place Wardlow and Starks as of now.
Wardlow's probably going to be about a 3 because we both had
That's
him.
what I'm saying. So, well, but we're looking at Wardlow and Starks are the two names we're talking about, right? So I'm thinking
Okada's the name you wanted to keep. So we got 2 spots left between Brody King, Roosh, Jay White, and Starks. 2 of those names are going.
okay. Man. So Jay White, Ricky Starks, Brody King, or Roosh, 2 of those guys are going. For me, man, I'd say we split the difference. I think I feel like Brody King and Ricky Starks for me, but I don't know about you. What do you think?
I'm thinking.
Hey, you're probably thinking Jay White and Roosh.
What do we do?
Eh,
Like, so, all right, you absolutely want to keep Okada. I
mean,
kind of feel the same way about Jay White.
okay. All right.
So that leaves Starks, Roosh, and Brody King. And I'll leave the decision to you. Starks, Roosh, Brody King.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Okay, so I have to place them in my head in order here. So Hobbs is 5. I mean, right now, who's at 4?
Whoever you pick right now.
And then Wardlow's at 3.
And then
Who's
we're
at
going to
2?
debate Jay White and Okada for 1 and 2.
Ooh.
Unless you want to put Wardlow number 1.
No, me personally, I think Okada's a little above Wardlow, so I'd rather have Okada at number 1 or 2.
And keep Wardlow at 3.
But I wouldn't mind Wardlow at 2, but then that gives me Wardlow and Okada at the top. So I mean, I know you want to probably want Jay White in there. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, the reality is that I don't. I mean, I think Starks has the best personality he's most ready to be a sports entertainer between
Wardlow has the best physique and honestly the move set that WWE likes to use. Well, I mean, it's gotten
right
better
now.
now that Triple H is in charge.
Right now, I'm talking between Ricky Starks, Brody King, and Roosh. Those are
So
the 3 you gave me to choose between them.
yeah. Roosh has a great move set. It's powerful, and since Triple H is in charge, they do allow more of like you can actually wrestle. But there's also a part of me of where I'm like, because like Brody King, like he can talk, and the
If
barking I
Ricky
really dig. And
if
Brody
Ricky
King,
Starks was if Ricky Starks was 3 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier, I think it would be hands down. I think it would be Ricky Starks. But I worry about his stature keeping him held back a little bit. So I'm still, I mean, even though he's not my guy, and even though you're arguing for Jay White, I think I got to go Ricky Starks over both Roosh and Brody King.
really,
So
okay.
I mean, it is what it is.
All right, let me just. I dig it. All right, so now we just have to debate number one.
Uh, Okada and Jay White.
Which I'll go ahead and give you Okada.
I mean, I don't think it really matters. I mean, I don't necessarily care. I mean, it's not like I have a vested interest either way, whether my guys go or your guys go per se. But no, I mean, I do think that Okada is a natural WWE guy. I mean,
I mean, we're just
I,
trying to make
I,
the best list possible of where we just
right,
present this to people and be like, here's our definitive list.
right, yeah. No, I mean, I think Okada is. For me, I think as I picked him, I think he's the number one guy in AEW that's right for WWE. So. Um, I mean, I didn't even have honestly, I didn't even have Jay White on my list. I don't know, not nothing against Jay White. He just didn't pop in my head, and I don't know how far I'd have to actually go to think about before I got him on the list. I mean, I don't. I'm right now he'd be 8, I think, because I still think my 7 personally I like a little bit better just in my own mind, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he wouldn't be in my top 10 somewhere. So, but to be fair,
Same thing
I
with me and
really
Okada.
thought of
Like Okada probably would have been hit up in that top 10. Uh, I mean, like Brody King definitely would have been in it too, though. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because I mean I don't know I'm almost
Like
willing to expand the list so they all make it. To be honest with you, because I think they all would
honestly,
be great.
honestly, if I had thought of it, I probably would have had Brody King number 5 instead of Daniel Garcia.
So yeah, I mean I don't. It doesn't really. It's 6 and one half dozen. I mean, if you want to put Okada at 1 because you got Starks and Jay White, that's fine. But it
Yeah,
doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't make a difference to me one way or the other. I mean,
looks like a
the
great list to
reality is,
me. You ready for me
yeah.
to
I mean,
start
I
reading this
agree.
off?
Sure.
All right. Going from WWE to AEW, we have Seth Rollins, Jacob Fatu, Chad Gable, Damian Priest, and Carmelo Hayes, Becky Lynch, Bailey, Naomi, Io Sky, and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, I think that's fun. I mean, I think all 10 of those 5 men and 5 women would all thrive in AEW. I think that's a very solid list of people that would have very solid runs in AEW.
Agreed. And from AEW to WWE, we have Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, and Camille.
Okay. I
And
like that.
for the men, we have Kazuchika Okada, Jay White, Wardlow, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I
Like,
think those are all I think
go ahead and
all
give
of those all good.
Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the shoulder for that.
A pat on the shoulder for that. There you go. I think all 20 of those are a good fit. Ultimately, I think that all 10 would be great. I think the thing that I mean, not all of them have been super successful, I guess, in the companies that they're in, which might have played into it a little bit, but they all had some success. So even though not all of them are definitely transcendent talents, I do think that all of them have proved that they probably have the ability to work in both, if not multiple, federations, and that they're all, this isn't an indictment of anybody's talent or anything against a knock against anybody. It's just who we think might fit better on one or the other. So
And feel
all these
free
guys
to
are
give
very
your
talented.
list down below. Tell us if you agree. Tell us if you disagree. I'd love to hear it.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. All right. Well, we've been talking to you guys for almost 2.5 hours, so we will go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. Thanks for joining us for the Cookout Podcast, where we are live every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, where we do talk about all that's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. This was from Restream. This is our first stream on Restream. We're checking out a couple other options besides StreamYard. So if things look or appear any different or come across any different, we apologize, but we are looking to make a move. So if you're new to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. It helps a lot. Hit the bell so you can be notified every time we have new content dropping on YouTube. That's the best way to make sure that you catch us when we are live or premiering something, because you'll get notification. So we are live, or we are on Sundays, usually pre-recorded. It is Under the Square Circle, where it's myself and Sammy Joe fighting it out on WWE 2K24. We are currently in the middle of the Tap or Snap submission only tournament for the number one contender to the World Heavyweight Championship. So make sure and tune in for that. It has been off for a few weeks just because life be lifing, but we are both back. Everything should be good. This Sunday we will have a show. I promise. I think I might have said that last Sunday and we didn't quite get it all together, but next Sunday I promise we're already halfway there. We just have to do the audio. So we should have something next Sunday and the Sunday after. And then obviously Tuesday nights, we're here for the Cookout, which you're here with us for. Same bat time, same bat channel every Tuesday. Friday Night Fights. Anika and Sammy Joe watch SmackDown and Rampage live, and whatever else is on this Sunday. This Friday, they'll also have TNA Victory Road. So one of them will be tasked with watching that as well. Hopefully, one of them will be able to watch that as well. So that's at 5. That starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern when SmackDown starts. So that's a live watch along where they will give you their live reactions and opinions in real time. Then Saturday mornings, it's myself, Anika, and Sammy Joe, where we meet for the winner's circle, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, and review a Monday Night Raw, NXT, and Dynamite from the week before, and pick our favorite show of the three. So far, it's been pretty much a landslide that AEW has dominated for the most part, almost every week, which I'm not sure is a big surprise.
It would be more
I'm
fair if it was Collision instead of Dynamite.
Yeah, or if it'd be even more fair if it was Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. Really, those are like the three shows that probably compare the best in
Well, we
theory.
do Raw.
Um, we do Raw. Yeah, NXT is really the outlier, really. I mean, NXT, in theory, if NXT ever beats Raw or SmackDown in a particular week, I mean, Raw or Dynamite in a particular week, then those two shows have had very down weeks, because NXT shouldn't be beating those shows ever being a developmental show in all reality. But
I
it is
am
what it is.
hopeful, though, come October, Raw going to 2 hours. If you compact 3 hours of programming into 2 hours, it can help make other things shine.
I'm very excited for that. I mean, it feels like a dream come true, for Christ's sake. So I have been preaching to the choir and praying for that forever. I mean, I'm not really a spiritual person or all that religious, but I've definitely been wanting that for a very long time, breathing that into the existence. So I'm very glad that we are back to 2 hours. So then, so that's Winter Circle. Then at some point, it could be this Saturday, the 13th. If not, at some point during September, we will be back with our Saturday Night is All Right AEW Collision watch long when CM comes back. So I'm going to confirm whether that'll be this Saturday or not. So make sure and tune in for that. And then we also have other stuff that we do at other times. So just make sure and hit the bell on YouTube, and you will get a notification every time we drop something new. So again, thank you. We appreciate you. I think we're at like 194 subscribers on YouTube, so we're right around the corner from 200. So we want to say thank you to each and every one of you. We appreciate all of you, and hope you all enjoyed it and have a great night. Unless there's anything else, Jimmy, you want to say, we
No.
will get out of here. All right, peace.